Report log galactic date 7249.3. Researcher senior xenobiologist Caxon P89. Classification preliminary assessment. Subject newly discovered species signal origin system Sol 3. Oh, how I wish I could go back to that first moment. That singular instant when my signal array picked up those strange transmissions from that utterly unremarkable yellow star. I should have ignored them. Should have moved on to the next system. Should have done anything except what I actually did. But no, I had to be curious, had to be thorough, had to maintain my reputation as the most meticulous researcher in the Galactic Science Academy. What a joke that title seems now. Let me start properly. My name is Caxon P89, Senior Xenobiologist of the Galactic Science Academy, first chair of primitive species research, and now, quite possibly, the biggest fool in recorded history. I have spent the last 30 cycles studying primitive species across our galaxy. My work has always been straightforward. Find developing worlds, catalog their inhabitants, assess their potential threat level, always negligible, and move on. Simple, safe, predictable. Until Earth. The first signals I detected were so chaotic, so random, that I almost marked them as natural phenomena. But there was a pattern hidden in the noise. What these creatures called the internet, an overwhelming flood of information, entertainment, and what they termed social media. I remember laughing at my workstation. Actually laughing. The first time in my career I had displayed such unprofessional behavior. The signals seemed like nonsense, a species broadcasting their every thought, fear, and ridiculous dance move into space for anyone to intercept. My assistant, T12, suggested we move on to the next system. Said something about the signal volume being suspicious. But I was fascinated, a species so oblivious to galactic standards that they leaked their entire culture into space. This would make an outstanding paper. If only I had listened to T12. Instead, I began the standard classification process. Primitive tool use? Check. Limited to single planetary body? Check. Constant internal conflicts? Check, 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 and check. Everything pointed to a standard class 3 primitive civilization. The kind we study and forget about for a few hundred cycles until they either destroy themselves or figure out basic space travel. I transmitted my initial findings to the Academy with my usual confidence, documented the humans' bizarre obsession with recording themselves doing everything imaginable, noted their peculiar habit of creating elaborate fictional scenarios they called movies and games, flagged their civilization for long-term observation. Looking at that first report now, I can only shake my head at my own arrogance, because I made the one mistake no xenobiologist should ever make. I underestimated them. Report log galactic date 7249.4. Continuation of preliminary assessment. Subject human entertainment analysis. The more I studied their entertainment broadcasts, the more convinced I became that humans were, to put it academically, completely out of their minds. Their action movies, as they called them, displayed such a fundamental disconnect from reality that I had to create an entirely new classification category just to document their delusions. Take, for example, what they call Die Hard. A single human defeating multiple armed adversaries while sustaining injuries that should have been fatal 10 times over. Please. Or their Mission Impossible series, the name itself should have been my first warning sign. A human hanging from a flying transport vessel at high altitude, running along the vertical surface of the tallest structure on their planet? I nearly sprayed my morning nutrient shake through my breathing apparatus when I first saw that. T12 suggested we should perhaps study their military capabilities, but I waved off the concerns. After all, what species would broadcast their actual tactical abilities for anyone to see? No, this had to be pure fantasy, a sign of a civilization so far from understanding real combat that they could only imagine these impossible scenarios. Their superhero films were even more absurd. Humans gaining extraordinary abilities from radiation exposure? Please. My team and I spent 3 work cycles just laughing at that one. In real radiation exposure scenarios, cells just die. They do not grant the ability to climb walls or shoot energy beams from one's appendages. But my personal favorite discovery was their video game entertainment. Humans sitting in their dwellings, playing at being space warriors, fighting off alien invasions with impossible weapons and even more impossible victory scenarios. The games called Doom and Half-Life particularly amused me. A single human defeating an entire alien invasion force. The sheer arrogance of even imagining such a thing. I drafted a supplementary report to the Academy, highlighting these entertainment forms as clear evidence of a species trapped in infantile power fantasies. My conclusion stated, and I quote my own words now, with bitter amusement, the humans' primitive entertainment clearly demonstrates their complete disconnection from reality regarding their own capabilities. They fantasize about impossible feats of physical prowess and combat efficiency, revealing deep-seated insecurities about their actual limited abilities. I even went so far as to recommend they be classified as a self-deluding primitive species, a designation typically reserved for civilizations that destroy themselves through sheer inability to grasp reality. The academia board got quite a laugh out of my presentation, especially the clips I showed from something called John Wick. The idea that a single human could eliminate hundreds of opponents was seen as the height of primitive wishful thinking. What none of us understood, what I failed so catastrophically to grasp, was that humans had not created these scenarios as mere entertainment. They had created them as inspiration, as blueprints, as training simulations disguised as games and movies. But I did not know that yet. At that point, I was still the smug xenobiologist, watching what I thought were the fantasies of a species that would fold at the first sign of real conflict. I even started a betting pool in the Academy about how quickly they would surrender when faced with actual advanced technology. I lost a lot of credits in that bet. The Academy approved my initial assessment with commendations for thoroughness. My reputation for accurately categorizing primitive species remained intact. And in my infinite wisdom, I recommended that Earth would make an excellent candidate for a resource harvesting operation, given their obviously limited defensive capabilities. If time travel is ever invented, I would like to go back and slap myself. Report log galactic date 7249.8. Meeting minutes Galactic Resource Acquisition Council. Subject Earth Harvesting Proposal. Status approved, may the ancestors forgive us. I stood before the Galactic Council with the confidence of someone who had absolutely no idea they were about to trigger an intergalactic incident. My presentation was perfect. My data charts were clear, and my smile was insufferably smug. I even wore my finest ceremonial scales, polished to a shine that would make a star feel dim. The council chamber was packed. Word had gotten around about my entertaining reports on human behavior, and everyone wanted to see the presentation. Several council members were already chuckling, having read my preliminary findings. Esteemed members of the council, I began, activating my holographic display. I present to you the most remarkable opportunity for resource acquisition in recent history. A planet rich in resources, inhabited by a species so engrossed in their entertainment systems that they will likely thank us for the honor of being harvested. The display showed Earth, spinning peacefully. Several council members leaned forward, their interest piqued by the beautiful blue marble. High Councilor Roxana P227 raised one of her sensory appendages. Caxon, your reports have been most amusing, but surely any species capable of global communication networks must have some defensive capabilities. I pulled up my favorite clips: humans dancing in their dwellings, humans falling over while attempting simple physical tasks, humans being startled by their own small companion animals. The chamber erupted in laughter. As you can see, I continued, trying to suppress my own amusement, they spend approximately 70% of their time creating and consuming what they call social media. Their most advanced military units regularly participate in something called TikTok challenges. This, honorable members, is their idea of martial prowess. I showed them clips of human military personnel performing synchronized dances. More laughter. Even High Councilor Roxana was vibrating with amusement. But what of their weapons? Asked Councilor Bax T55, always the cautious one. Your reports mention they have nuclear capabilities. Ah, yes, I replied, pulling up more data. They do possess atomic weapons. However, they are so afraid of using them that they have created elaborate treaties preventing their use. Moreover, their most powerful nations spend more resources on entertainment production than space defense. They literally broadcast their military movements on something called Instagram. The council chamber buzzed with excited whispers. A planet rich in resources with practically no defense budget? It was unprecedented. I propose I continued, reaching the core of my presentation. A simple Class 3 harvesting operation. 3 battleships, standard minimal crew. We will not need more than that for a species that considers this to be peak combat efficiency. I played a clip from an action movie showing obviously impossible motorcycle stunts. The council was practically rolling in their hover seats. What about first contact protocols, someone asked from the back. Oh, we will follow them to the letter, I assured them. Standard procedure: position ships over major population centers, broadcast surrender demands in all their languages, wait the customary 10 minutes for their leadership to capitulate. I estimate the entire operation will take less than 1 planetary rotation. I even included a cost-benefit analysis showing the minimal expenditure required versus the massive resource gain. The numbers were beautiful, perfect, completely wrong, but I did not know that yet. One small concern, T-12 interrupted, my ever-cautious assistant. I have noted some anomalies in their global defense spending that. Thank you, T-12, I cut in smoothly. We can address minor budgetary discrepancies in the follow-up report. The key point, honored council members, is that this species is so unthreatening that they make their young practice combat in game simulations that defy the laws of physics. They are, quite literally, living in a fantasy world. The council deliberation took exactly 7 minutes. It was, they agreed, the most straightforward resource acquisition proposal they had seen in cycles. They particularly enjoyed my suggestion that we might not even need to use our weapons, simply showing up might be enough to send the humans into what they called panic mode, which, based on my research, seemed to involve a lot of running in circles and screaming. The council granted immediate approval for a Class 3 harvesting operation. 3 ships, minimal crew, standard equipment. After all, High Counselor Roxana joked we would not want to overwhelm them with too much advanced technology. They might try to take selfies with our ships. As I left the chamber, accepting congratulations and praise from my colleagues, T-12 tried one last time. Sir, about those defense spending anomalies. T-12, I said condescendingly, please stop worrying. What is the worst that could happen? They will throw their primitive smartphones at our ships. The answer to that question, as I would soon discover, was far more terrifying than anything I could have imagined. But at that moment, I was still floating on a cloud of self-satisfaction, already mentally composing my acceptance speech for the Resource Acquisition Award of Excellence. I really should have listened to T-12. Report log galactic date 7250.1. Operation status initial contact phase. Location Earth orbit. Classification increasingly concerning. The 3 ships of our harvesting fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation above the human planet. I had specifically timed our arrival for maximum dramatic effect, just as the planet's northern hemisphere was facing its sun. The ships cast impressive shadows over their largest cities, just like in their movies. I thought they would appreciate the familiar touch. Captain Nexer B-15 positioned our vessels precisely above what the humans called New York, London, and Tokyo. Again, I had chosen these locations based on human entertainment. Their movies always showed aliens targeting these cities first. I assumed they had psychologically prepared themselves for this scenario. Broadcasting surrender demands now, Communications Officer Valara M44 announced, her voice bored. We had done this so many times before. Transmitting in all 500 recorded Earth languages, including something called Klingon. Sir, is that last one really necessary? Thoroughness. Valara, I replied, straightening my uniform. We want them to appreciate our attention to detail. The surrender message was my finest work. I had crafted it to be both intimidating and considerate. People of Earth, we are an advanced civilization seeking your resources. Your planet has been selected for harvesting. Please do not resist. Resistance would be. I had paused here for dramatic effect. Futile. You have 10 minutes to surrender through your proper channels. We accept all major forms of capitulation, including white flags, official declarations, and unconditional tweets. I waited for the panic, the screaming, the chaos I had seen in countless human movies. Instead, my screen lit up with thousands of incoming messages. The humans were responding, en masse, with. Sir Valara called out, her voice puzzled. Are they sending us something called memes? My display filled with images, thousands of them. Humans had taken pictures of our ships and were already adding text to them. One showed our main vessel with the caption, "That's not a spaceship. This is a spaceship," followed by something from their entertainment called Stargate. Sir Security Chief Grax N99 interrupted. We are detecting numerous small objects approaching our ships. They appear to be recreational drones, and they are carrying. Are those cardboard signs? I looked at the approaching swarm of small flying devices. The humans had attached signs to them, signs reading "Welcome to Earth," and "We have been expecting you," and "Did you bring snacks?" This is not the correct response to an invasion, I muttered, checking my manual. They are supposed to be panicking. That is when we detected the first missile launch. Not aimed at us, mind you. Just straight up into the air, carrying what appeared to be an advertising banner for something called Raid Shadow Legends. Sir T-12 said quietly from behind me. About those defense spending anomalies I mentioned, it seems the humans have been investing heavily in something they call psychological warfare. Before I could respond, every electronic billboard in every city below us lit up with the same message: "New phone, Hoodies." Sir Valara called out again, her voice slightly higher than usual. Their global communication networks are flooding our systems with something called Rick Astley. As the first notes of "Never Gonna Give You Up" began playing through our ship's speakers, I had a sinking feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, I had made a terrible mistake in my initial assessment. And that was before their actual military response began. Report log, galactic date 7250.1. Operation status: complete chaos. Location: Earth orbit. Classification: what is happening? The first real indication that we had severely miscalculated came when our ship's sensors detected something unusual. A group of humans had arranged themselves in the streets of New York into a giant arrow formation, pointing at our ship's primary engine housing. They appeared to be performing a synchronized dance routine. Sir Security Chief Grax reported, they seemed to be doing something called the Macarena. Before I could respond, our ship rocked with an explosion. Somehow, while we were distracted by the dancers, several small stealth aircraft had approached from the opposite direction and launched precision strikes at our engine coolant systems. Impossible, I muttered, checking the damage reports. How did they know where to hit us? Sir T-12 said, pulling up some data, it appears humans have been designing theoretical alien spacecraft weaknesses in something called video games for over 50 years. The next hour was pure chaos. Every time we tried to focus on a military target, we would be distracted by some absurd civilian display. A massive group in Tokyo started performing a perfectly choreographed rendition of Thriller. While we were processing this bizarre behavior, their actual military forces were executing surprisingly effective guerrilla strikes. Sir, London is. Are they having a tea party? Valara reported incredulously. They have set up thousands of tables right under our ship. They are serving something called Yorkshire Gold and missile launch detected. The humans had somehow weaponized their social media addiction. Every real military action was obscured by 100 social media stunts. Our targeting systems were overwhelmed trying to distinguish between actual threats and what they called flash mobs. A report from the New York sector Grax called out. Humans are now recreating famous scenes from their science fiction entertainment directly under our ships. Current scenario appears to be Independence Day. Another explosion rocked our vessel. How are they doing this? I demanded. Our shields are the most advanced in the galaxy. Sir T-12 said, reviewing data, it appears they have been methodically testing different theoretical approaches to alien shield penetration through their entertainment industry. These are not random attacks. They are executing pre-planned scenarios they have been practicing for decades. The situation in London was even more bewildering. A group that called themselves influencers had started a TikTok challenge called Alien Invasion Check. Millions of humans were posting videos of themselves sneaking up on our ground forces and adding funny filters to them. Sir, our ground troops are reporting severe morale issues, Grax reported. They cannot tell if they are being attacked or turned into social media content. A message flashed across my screen. The humans had started a LinkedIn campaign offering our troops better employment opportunities. Several of our junior officers were already updating their professional profiles. Sir Valara interrupted. You need to see this. Humans are now rating our invasion on something called Yelp. We are only getting 2 stars. The reviews say our ships look dated and our invasion tactics are basic. Another explosion. This time in Tokyo, where a group of what they called gamers had apparently figured out our shield frequencies by comparing them to something called Mass Effect. Status report, I demanded. Sir, we have lost engine capability in 2 ships, Grax reported. Our ground forces are completely disoriented. The humans keep challenging them to dance battles before attacking. And, sir, are you aware your failed invasion is now trending on something called Twitter? I checked the feeds. The humans had started multiple trending hashtags. Invasion fail. Alien scantons. We have been training for this. Bring back my resources. Sir T-12 said, pulling up more data, I have figured out those defense spending anomalies. The humans have been funneling massive resources into something called the Space Force. Everyone thought it was a joke, including them. But apparently they were serious about it. The final straw came when a group of humans calling themselves Memlords hacked our communication systems. Every screen on every ship began playing a combination of cat videos and surprisingly accurate technical diagrams of our vessel's weaknesses. Sir Valara reported, her voice shaking, humans have started a GoFundMe to raise money for, and I quote, better aliens to invade us. They have already raised several $1 million. A teenage human had somehow gotten our ship's email address and sent us a PowerPoint presentation titled Why Your Invasion Sucks and How to Do Better the Worst Part. The suggestions were actually quite good. Sir, the London sector is now hosting what they call a pop-up invasion merchandise store, Grax reported. They are selling t-shirts that say I survived the lamest alien invasion ever. And they are making a profit. I watched in horror as humans began recreating our entire invasion attempt in something called a Unity game engine, complete with microtransactions and battle pass rewards. What kind of species, I asked, nobody in particular, turns an invasion into a marketing opportunity? The kind that has been preparing for this exact scenario through every possible medium for over a century, T-12 replied. Sir, I have completed my analysis. Every single human entertainment product involving aliens was not just entertainment, it was a training simulator, a thought experiment, a preparation tool. But their movies were so unrealistic, I protested. Were they, T-12 asked? Or did they simply understand something we did not? That the best way to prepare for the impossible is to imagine it first. While we laughed at their entertainment, they were building a cultural database of every conceivable first contact scenario. They turned invasion preparation into a game. And in doing so, made everyone a potential defender. As if to prove this point, a group of children in Tokyo had just successfully disabled one of our ground vehicles using tactics they apparently learned from a video game called Fortnite. Sir Valara called out one last time, humans have just announced they are producing a documentary about our invasion. They are calling it That Was Easy, the 3-Hour War. It already has a 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I looked at my invasion force. One ship was dead in the water, its crew too busy responding to LinkedIn messages to effect repairs. Another was surrounded by food delivery drones offering something called Uber Eats to our increasingly distracted troops. The third was being forced to watch an endless stream of PowerPoint presentations on how to improve our invasion techniques. And through it all, the humans just kept dancing, posting, streaming, and somehow, inexplicably, winning. T-12, I said quietly, please tell me you kept the receipt for our invasion fleet. Sir T-12 replied, the humans have already posted it on Instagram with the caption Need Better Aliens Report Log Galactic Date 7250.2. Operation Status Existential Crisis in Progress. Location Emergency Retreat Position. Classification Oh no. Everything changed when we intercepted their military communications. We expected standard battlefield protocols, encrypted messages about troop movements, perhaps some desperate pleas for help. Instead, we found references to movies, video games, and something they called speedrun strategies. Sir T-12 said, displaying the intercepted data, "Look at these military commands." I stared at the screen, my protective scales itching with growing dread. Execute the Independence Day maneuver in Sector 7. Deploy the Pacific Rim Defense Formation. Initiate Operation Space Invaders. Team A, you have Starship Troopers duty. Team B, commence Ender's Game protocols. Then it hit me. Every human entertainment product I had mocked, every scenario I had dismissed as ridiculous, had been a preparation tool, a training program disguised as fun. T-12, I whispered, show me the correlation between their entertainment releases and military development. The data painted a terrifying picture. Every major advancement in their military technology had been preceded by waves of science fiction entertainment exploring those exact concepts. They had been openly developing their defense strategies for decades, hiding them in plain sight as popular culture. Sir, Valara called out. I have analyzed their gaming platforms. The most popular games? All combat simulators. First-person shooter games? Training programs for urban warfare. Strategy games? Tactical command exercises. Even their casual mobile games teach resource management and rapid decision-making. My tentacles curled in horror as more data poured in. Their children, Grax reported, sounding stunned, play games that teach them to identify weak points in enemy vessels. They have tournaments, give out prizes for the most innovative tactics. I pulled up footage from their gaming competitions. Thousands of humans gathered in arenas, watching teams compete in virtual battles. But they were not just playing, they were learning, practicing, preparing. Those practice ranges in their shooter games, T-12 noted, exact replicas of potential urban combat zones. Their racing games, vehicle handling training. Even their puzzle games teach quick thinking under pressure. A human military transmission caught my attention, just like we practiced in Halo, people. Remember your teabagging tactics. I had to sit down. Their movies, I muttered, scrolling through my database of human entertainment. Every invasion scenario, every alien encounter. They were not fantasizing. They were problem-solving, running simulations, creating a cultural database of possible first-contact scenarios. Sir Valara interrupted. Their military academies actually include science fiction literature in their required reading lists. They call it theoretical xenology studies. My mind raced back to all the human entertainment I had dismissed. The impossible physics in their action movies? Training exercises for adapting to unexpected combat situations. Their superhero films? Lessons in leveraging environmental advantages against superior forces. Even their horror movies taught survival tactics against unknown threats. What about their social media obsession? I asked weakly, hoping for some evidence that I had not completely misjudged everything. Sir, T-12 replied, pulling up more data. Their constant documentation of everything. Perfect intelligence gathering training. Those viral dance trends, coordination exercises. Their meme sharing, rapid information dissemination practice. Even their online arguing serves as training for psychological warfare. Look at this, Grax added, displaying more intercepted communications. Their military personnel are required to maintain social media presence. It is not just for recruitment. They are maintaining a constant state of ready adaptation to new communication methods. A new transmission popped up on my screen. A human military commander was addressing their troops. Remember your Minecraft training, soldiers. Sometimes the best defense is a good tower building strategy. Sir, Valara called out, her voice shaking. Their Space Force? The one everyone thought was a joke? They have been crowdsourcing space combat tactics through online gaming communities for years. Every major strategic decision has been tested millions of times in simulations they call multiplayer matches. I watched in dawning horror as human forces executed a perfect flanking maneuver they had apparently learned from something called Among Us. Even their dating apps, T-12 noted grimly, teach rapid profile assessment and risk evaluation. Everything they do, every piece of entertainment they create serves a dual purpose as training. So when I showed the council those clips of humans failing at simple tasks, I asked, "Practice in misdirection?" T12 confirmed. They deliberately maintain an image of harmless incompetence while constantly training and preparing. Even their fail videos teach valuable lessons about what not to do in critical situations. The final piece clicked when we intercepted a message from a human commander to their troops. "Remember, we have been training for this since we first played Space Invaders. This is just a real-life boss fight, and we have already beaten it 1,000,000 times in simulation." I looked at my invasion force, now in full retreat, being pursued by humans expertly executing tactics they had apparently learned from decades of gaming sessions and movie nights. Sir Valara reported they are now streaming their counterattack on Twitch. It has 10 million viewers, and the commentators are critiquing our tactical mistakes like this is an esports tournament. As I watched humans coordinate their attacks using references to video game strategies and movie scenes, I realized the full extent of my error. We had not invaded a primitive species obsessed with entertainment. We had invaded a species that had turned their entire culture into one massive, continuous military training program, and they had done it so skillfully that they did not even realize they were doing it. "T12, I said quietly, "next time I dismiss your concerns about anomalies in data, please just shoot me." "Noted," Sir T12 replied, while on our main screen, a squad of human fighters executed a perfect formation they had apparently learned from playing something called Final Fantasy. Report log galactic date 7250.3. Operation status, full historical analysis. Location emergency retreat position. Classification everything makes sense now. While our remaining ships limped away from Earth, I dove deep into their historical records, and what I found shook me to my core. The humans had been preparing for us long before they had even reached their moon. Every piece of their science fiction was a tactics manual disguised as entertainment. Sir T12 reported, bringing up ancient human broadcasts. "Look at this. War of the Worlds, 1938. They simulated an alien invasion through audio broadcast. The resulting panic taught them about emergency response protocols." I scrolled through decades of human science fiction, seeing it now with terrifying clarity. Hidden beneath the entertainment value, each story was a thought experiment, a training scenario, a preparation guide. Their first major science fiction publication about alien invasion, Valara noted, came shortly after they developed powered flight. They started preparing for space combat before they even had spacecraft. The data was overwhelming. Every decade brought new invasion scenarios, each one carefully crafted to explore different tactical possibilities. 1950s, sir, they used B-movie alien invasions to maintain public awareness during peacetime. 1960s Star Trek, I muttered. Not just entertainment, a military protocol guide for first contact scenarios. 1970s Close Encounters taught civilian response to alien arrival. 1980s E.T. training children to assist stranded infiltrators. They were preparing even their younglings. Sir Grax interrupted. "Remember those video game arcades we thought were just entertainment centers? The first popular arcade game was Space Invaders. They were literally training their population to fight off alien attacks while collecting quarters." My tentacles curled in horror as more historical data poured in. "Look at their early internet," T12 pointed out. Discussion forums dedicated to debating alien invasion scenarios. They called it fan theories. It was actually crowdsourced tactical analysis. Even their music, Valara added. David Bowie's Space Oddity. Queen's Flash Gordon soundtrack. They built alien invasion awareness into their cultural consciousness through every possible medium. I pulled up more recent data, seeing everything in a new light. Their Marvel movies, I gasped. The alien invasion of New York in the Avengers. They showed it to millions of humans. Multiple times. They were conducting mass training seminars disguised as summer blockbusters. Sir T12 said, "Their Area 51 facility. The one they pretend does not exist while making it obvious it exists. Classic misdirection. They let conspiracy theories flourish while doing their real alien research elsewhere." That Facebook event, Grax added. Storm Area 51. It looked like a joke, but they were testing crowd response strategies and social media coordination capabilities. The deeper we dug, the worse it got. Pokemon, I whispered, teaching children to catalog unknown species and understand their capabilities. Minecraft, construction and resource management training. Angry Birds, literally teaching their children orbital bombardment trajectories. Cervalara called out, their conspiracy theory communities, they function as think tanks, exploring even the most unlikely scenarios. They dismiss them as crazy while secretly analyzing every possibility. A human broadcast caught my attention. They were already producing a documentary about our invasion called When Alien Meets Gen Z at TikTok Victory. Even their romantic entertainment T12 noted, Twilight, training manual for dealing with powerful non-human entities. 50 Shades of Grey, lessons in power dynamics and negotiation. The humans have a saying Grax added. They call it Rule 34. If something exists, there is an adult entertainment version of it. Do you realize what this means? By the ancestors, I muttered. They made sure every possible scenario was explored through every possible medium. They left no tactical stone unturned. Cervalara interrupted. Speaking of Rule 34, you should see what their adult entertainment industry has already produced about our invasion. It is creative. Their social media platforms T12 continued, mercifully changing the subject. Twitter's character limit, training for concise emergency communications. Instagram, visual intelligence gathering practice. Facebook, data collection and analysis training disguised as sharing baby photos. I stared at their global entertainment industry with new understanding. Every alien movie, every space game, every science fiction novel. They were not just imagining possibilities, they were preparing for them. Their entire entertainment industry is a decentralized military training program. Sir Grax reported, human military sources confirmed. They actually give medals for what they call thinking outside the box. They reward unconventional tactical thinking. Who does that? A species that has been preparing for every possible scenario for over a century, I replied grimly. And they did it so naturally that even they do not realize they are doing it. The final revelation came when we intercepted a human school lesson. Young humans were being taught something called creative writing. The assignment? Imagine you are an alien invading Earth. What would you do? What would humans do to stop you? They were training their children to think like both the invaders and the defenders, in their schools, as part of their basic education. Sir T12 said quietly, remember when we laughed at their constant need to document everything, to share every moment of their lives? I nodded. Hey. They created a global surveillance network powered by social media addiction. Everyone is always watching, recording, sharing. The perfect defensive grid, maintained willingly by the population because they think they are just sharing cat videos. I looked at the retreating wreckage of my invasion fleet, now being documented by millions of human phones for what they called content creation. Their dating apps, I realized with growing horror, teaching pattern recognition, their food delivery apps, supply chain management, their social media challenges, training in rapid adaptation and group coordination. Everything they do is preparation T12 finished, hidden so well that even they do not know they are doing it. The perfect deception is one where even the deceiver does not know they are participating. A final human transmission flashed across our screen, just like we practiced, everyone. Now, who is ready to speedrun this alien invasion? I buried my face in my tentacles as I realized the truth. We had not failed because we were weak. We had failed because humans had been preparing for us since before they invented electronic computers. Every piece of their entertainment, every social media trend, every technological advancement had served a dual purpose. And they had done it all while convincing themselves, and us, that they were just having fun. Cervalara reported one last time, the humans have just announced a reality TV show called So You Think You Can Invade Earth. They want us to be the judge's emergency transmission to Galactic Council. From Senior Xenobiologist Caxon P89. Subject withdraw now. Priority extremely urgent. Note this report is being written while dodging something humans call a Nintendo Switch, which they have somehow weaponized. Honorable Council members, I hereby officially request immediate classification of Earth as a category absolutely not worth the trouble planet, with additional designation of what were we thinking and subsidiary classification of oh no, oh no, oh no, no. My previous assessment was not just wrong. It was catastrophically, fundamentally, embarrassingly wrong. The humans are not primitive. They are not defenseless. They are not unprepared. They are, in fact, the most prepared species we have ever encountered, precisely because they do not know they are prepared. Current situation report. Ship 1 disabled by tactics apparently learned from something called Portal. Ship 2 crew mutinied after receiving better job offers through LinkedIn. Ship 3 currently being used as background for human social media posts. Sir T-12 interrupted my report writing. The humans are now offering our troops signing bonuses to switch sides. They include health insurance and something called a 401,000 match. I added to the report. Additional complications. 47% of our invasion force has already updated their professional profiles. 23% have started their own YouTube channels. 12% are now TikTok influencers. One officer has already been offered a book deal. Sir Valara called out, human streaming services are fighting over rights to our invasion footage. Netflix is offering premium credits. I waved her silent and continued writing. Council members, I must stress the severity of our miscalculation. We believed we were invading a primitive species. Instead, we have stumbled into a civilization that has 1. Turned their entire entertainment industry into a military training program. 2. Weaponized their social media addiction. 3. Converted their need for attention into a planetary defense system. 4. Made preparation for alien contact so fun that they do it voluntarily. Sir Grax interrupted. The humans have started a betting pool on which of our ships will surrender next. They are offering cryptocurrency rewards. I added hastily. 5. Monetized our invasion failure. The humans are not just defeating us. They are recording it, streaming it, monetizing it, teaching others how to do it, creating multimedia content about it, starting merchandising lines, planning theme park attractions. Sir T-12 reported, they are now offering our troops free Prime membership and Disney subscriptions to surrender. I continued typing frantically. Critical assessment. Every aspect of human culture we dismissed as primitive entertainment serves a military purpose. Their gaming industry? Combat simulation training. Their social media? Intelligence gathering network. Their memes? Psychological warfare tools. Their streaming services? Tactical analysis distribution. Their entertainment? Training disguised as fun. Sir Valara interrupted again. The humans have started a GoFundMe to buy our ships and turn them into tourist attractions. They have already exceeded their funding goal. My tentacles shook as I typed. Immediate recommendations. 1. Withdraw all forces immediately. 2. Classify Earth as absolutely forbidden for invasion. 3. Ban all attempts at resource harvesting. 4. Possibly ban all contact whatsoever. 5. Consider moving our galaxy. Sir Grax called out, human children are now selling lemonade and alien invasion trading cards outside our disabled ships. I added urgently. 6. Retreat before they completely monetize our failure. Threat assessment update. Previous assessment of human entertainment as primitive distraction wrong. New assessment: humans have created the most sophisticated military training program in the galaxy by making it entertaining. They do not know they are doing it. That makes it worse. How do you defeat an enemy that trains constantly without realizing they are training? Sir T12 noted, the humans have already produced a best-selling self-help book, How to Succeed in Invasion Defense Without Really Trying. Additional warning. Do not attempt psychological warfare. The humans have weaponized their own psychological issues and monetized their coping mechanisms. They are immune. Sir Valaro reported, our troops are now participating in something called a reaction video to their own invasion. Critical update. The humans have turned our invasion into a social media event, a marketing opportunity, a team-building exercise, a learning experience, a profitable venture, entertainment content, a trending topic, a case study. Sir Grax interrupted one last time. The humans are offering to let us surrender through any major social media platform of our choice. They suggest TikTok for best engagement rates. Final recommendations. 1. Never invade Earth. 2. Never threaten Earth. 3. Never even mildly annoy Earth. 4. Possibly avoid this entire sector of space. 5. Consider early retirement. Personal note. Sir T12 added, the humans have started an online course, How to Repel Alien Invasions for Beginners. It already has million subscribers. Including thoughts. I hereby officially resign my position as senior xenobiologist and request immediate reassignment to any position that does not involve contact with humans, perhaps waste disposal management on a remote mining colony. The humans are not confining their invasion response to mere military action. They have turned it into a cultural event, educational opportunity, business venture, social media campaign, entertainment franchise, professional development opportunity. They are not just defeating us, they are using our invasion as content. Sir Valara reported one final time, the humans want to know if we would be interested in participating in a reality show called Invasion Makeover, How Earth Taught Aliens to Invade Better. Final note. If any future council members consider invading Earth, I have only one recommendation. Do not. And just do not. They will defeat you. They will record it. They will monetize it. They will turn it into content. They will make it trend. They will teach others how to do it. And worst of all, they will have fun doing it. End report. Yes, the humans have just informed me this report has been leaked online and is now going viral. They are calling it InvasionGate. It already has its own Wikipedia page. Desperately seeking immediate evacuation. Caxon P89, former senior xenobiologist. Current social media cautionary tale. Final report log. Galactic date 7251.0. Location retirement facility, far edge of galaxy. Status trying to forget. They are broadcasting it into space now. All of it. The memes, the TikToks, the reaction videos, the tutorial guides. An endless stream of content about how they repelled our invasion, all aimed directly at the stars. They call it the galaxy's greatest hits. Sir T12 says, bringing me my daily mood stabilizers, the humans have released their first movie about our invasion. It is called 3 Hours of Fame, How Earth Won Their First Galactic War Through Social Media. I do not need to watch it. I already know it is trending across their planet. Their streaming services are fighting over who gets to produce the next adaptation. Netflix is doing a serious documentary. Disney Plus has an animated series in production. Amazon Prime is creating an extended universe with multiple spin-off shows. The worst part, they are not doing this to mock us. They are doing this because they genuinely think it is helpful. They are creating educational content for the next alien invasion. The video game adaptations are quite popular, T12 informs me, somehow thinking this will help. The speedrunning community is particularly excited about the any % invasion defense category. I have seen their broadcasts. The tutorials how to repel an alien invasion in 5 easy steps. The review video's top 10 moments from Earth's first galactic victory. The educational content Alien Invasion Defense for Dummies. They have turned our failure into a complete multimedia franchise. My personal favorite, though I would never admit it aloud, is their new reality show So You Want to Invade Earth. Teams of humans compete to create the best invasion defense strategies. The prize? A trip to my former ship, now converted into a theme park attraction. Sir T12 says gently, the humans have sent us an invitation. They are hosting an invasion anniversary convention. They would like you to be the keynote speaker. I look at the stars through my retirement pod window, where human broadcasts continue to flood space with their victory memes. Their message to the galaxy is clear. Come to Earth. Try to invade. They will defeat you, make content about it, monetize it, and turn it into a learning experience. And they will have fun doing it. T12, I say, reaching for another mood stabilizer. Next time I suggest invading a planet because their entertainment seems primitive. Already noted, Sir T12 replies, though the humans have created a very informative course about that exact scenario. It is available on Skillshare with a free trial period. I turn away from the window, but not before catching a glimpse of Earth's latest space broadcast, a supercut of our invasion set to something called Never Gonna Give You Up. They rickrolled the entire galaxy. And somehow, that feels exactly right.